Good afternoon, everyone. Golden Ticket to History coming to you from downtown Ocoee, Florida. I've been down here a couple of times for a few other videos, most recently being a filming location. There is an old Methodist church, Christian church, here in downtown Ocoee that was used in the film My Girl. It was used as the film when the bingo scenes took place, as well as I've done some videos highlighting some tragic events that took place here in Ocoee, Florida as well. I'm here today to pay homage to a set of area that's set aside for the Ocoee Massacre. I did a video, one of my first videos I did on this channel was on the story of Julius July Perry. Julius July Perry was a victim of the Ocoee Massacre in 1920. Essentially what happened was that there was two African American communities here in Ocoee, as well as a predominantly white community. One of the communities was ransacked. The northern community was completely ransacked by a mob of about 100 white people. They came in, they destroyed shops, they destroyed property, they destroyed homes, they set fire to buildings. When people tried to run out of the buildings, they would shoot them. And it ultimately led to a decree brought upon the southern quarters, which was the second African American community, where they told them either flee their homes or the same fate would be secured for them as well. And what ended up happening, a little over 400 residents of the southern quarters fled Ocoee, Florida, and would not return until the 1980s, when a diversity project was put in place to try to unofficially right the wrongs of the past. So essentially what happened was that all of the deaths that took place during this mass exodus, the massacre led to the mass exodus, were not reported. So there's not even 100% even known exactly all the residents who were direct victims of this heinous crime that took place this time period. The story of Julius July Perry was that Julius July Perry was one of two individuals. He was a very prominent person in the town. He was about 54 years old, I believe, at the time of his death. It's been a little bit since I've looked at his story, so forgive me if I'm off a little bit on the logistics, but I'm pretty sure he was 54 years old. And what happened was that he attempted to vote in the 1920 presidential election. When July Perry and another individual showed up to the voting board, to the campaign election office, magically his voting records could not be found. They could not find his registration. So therefore they would not allow him to vote. By the time he made it home, a mob had already been put together to abuse him, to destroy his home, and to make him pay for his transgressions for trying to vote in the presidential election. Ultimately, July Perry fought back, but the local authorities ruled against him, said that he was the one at fault for the crimes. They arrested him. They transported him to the jail in downtown Orlando. The same mob that attacked him in the first place, as well as a few additional accomplices, went to the jail, forcibly removed him from the jail, and somewheres in downtown Orlando, they found some rope and they hung him from one of the telephone poles in downtown Orlando. I am a historian at heart. I've been trying to find specifically where that intersection was, but again, the accounts are very, very blurred. It's not like in 2022 where we have security cameras, we have traffic cameras at every single intersection, so you could see something like that happening. We do not have the luxury of that in 1920. So the only people who would have first-hand accounts of that would probably be the individuals who took part in the crime, to which they were not going to bear witness to their own crime, as well as maybe some bystanders who would not bear witness to it either, for fear of the backlash they would face for going against their community. This was essentially swept under the rug for a very long period of time. Even up to about 10 years ago, the community acknowledged what happened, but still kind of kept it on the back burner, didn't really want to fully acknowledge it. If they talked about it, yes, they acknowledged it, but there was not any public decree that acknowledged these heinous events that took place. In 2019, this set of lawn here was set aside as an area of reflection, remembrance, and a place for solidarity and solace for people to sit and reflect on and to acknowledge the events that took place. It's a very beautiful section. Right behind me is a lake. They do a lot of different events here. They have concerts here that are put on. So yes. So I'm going to provide a little bit of some video space for you guys to be able to read this. The Ocoee Massacre and Exodus. In 1920, the Ocoee area included two African-American communities, northern quarters and southern quarters. A white mob reported to be at least 100 persons entered northern quarters on November 3rd, 1920. During a long house-to-house gun battle, the mob set fire to buildings owned by or serving African-Americans, including a lodge, homes, businesses, schools, and churches. Anyone attempting to flee a burning building was shot, and those who remained died in the fire. In the days following, residents of southern quarters were told to abandon their property or face the same fate. Based on 1920 census data, 495 African-American residents in Ocoee were driven out. Local authorities confiscated the abandoned property and divided amongst the white residents of the area. No records of the deaths were kept, and those related to the property sales were lost. African Americans did not return to the area until the 1980s. Ocoee's population rapidly grew and diversified with the housing, construction boom. In acknowledgement of this past, the Ocoee City Commission formed Florida's first Human Relations Diversity Advisory Board in 2006 and designated a portion of the lakefront park as an area of remembrance and reflection in 2019. This plaque states this is a Florida Heritage Site sponsored by the City of Ocoee, Florida and the Florida Department of State. And this sign was erected in 2019. You see this back section pays homage to what has occurred to Julius July Perry. Leading up to the election day on November 2nd, 1920, the Ku Klux Klan and United Confederate Veterans held rallies and parades to discourage African Americans from voting. County officials arranged for the local notary public to be out of town, so there would be no one legally to affirm that voters had paid their poll taxes on election day. Only African Americans were challenged to prove they had paid the tax. One African American man, Mose Norman, attempted to vote at the Ocoee polling place but was refused entry. Norman left and returned later, but was beaten and driven from the site. An armed group of white citizens sought to arrest Norman. They went first to the home of Julius July Perry, a prominent African American businessman, but by the time they arrived, Norman had fled. The group attempted to enter Perry's home, but the family resisted. A gunfight ensued that left two whites dead and Perry gravely injured. He was taken to the Orange County Jail in Orlando by a white mob, secured his release, and lynched him near the home of Judge John M. Chaney. Perry was later buried in Orlando's Greenwood Cemetery. This event led to further tragedy in Orange County. So I'm gonna post a link to a video right up here to the final resting place of Julius July Perry. There's also a placard very similar to this one at the Orlando History Center, which used to be the Orange County Orange County Courthouse, as well as there is a stretch of road that runs between Ocoee through Winter Garden to Oakland that has been named Julius July Perry Parkway, I believe it's referred to as. It might be Avenue, but it's named in tribute to Julius July Perry. His grave did not have a final marker until 2018, to which a group got together and provided the financial means to provide him with a final resting place, a final marker for his final resting place. So if you want to check out that video, I'll post it up here somewheres around here, as well as I'll place it in the description for those of you who would like to check out that video as well. So this is a little bit of history into Florida's history. You know, not all history is always good, not all history is always bad, but sometimes history can be a little ugly. So as always, continue to look for the history in film. Hopefully you liked this video. Please share it to on your social media platforms and other locations to help to raise awareness on these events that took place. You know, typically the best way for history to be erased is for it to not be talked about or for it not to be shared. You know, think back to historically, how did most governments destroy history? They destroyed the books, and they made it illegal to read the books and to read the history. So if we refuse to reflect on and to talk about the past, then it will be lost forever. So please make sure to share this with other individuals. You know, if you like this video and some of my other ones, you know, make sure to subscribe. Let me know in the comments what you'd like to see next. Yeah, so please share this with those who would find it interesting. So yeah, so as always, continue to look for the history in film. Until next time, have a great afternoon, everyone.